This is what I always say. If I had a superpower, you know what my superpower would be? It would be just being consistent. This is one of the greatest challenges I think I face and many others face. I don't know if it was a typical path or not. I've been in real estate for 6 years, just past my 6-year mark in January, or this month, I guess. So we moved a lot, and we moved different cities and stuff. And I used to joke with my husband, you know, when I retire, I'm going to become a real estate agent. But I'm not retired. And also what happened is I became a real estate investor. And through that journey, I just got really interested in real estate. And I was dissatisfied where I was working, which was in the pharmaceutical sales industry. And I just started to explore the opportunity of becoming a real estate agent, and talked with my husband and said, okay, I'm going to take the first course. I did okay. Well, I'll take the second course. Okay, I did okay. And after that, we kind of put together a game plan for me to exit where I was working to start working for myself. And that was, as I say, about 6 years ago. So it was kind of, it was planned. But it was more a reaction to leaving my corporate job and not having to worry about downsizings and having more control in my life, for sure. Drives me in this profession. I think I really love problem solving. And one of the things that I just love with clients is when they bring me into their inner circle and I can be part of that problem solving. So for me, it's a little bit almost like a puzzle. You know, you are looking for, like I was just out this afternoon with a first-time home buyer. And we've seen a number of places. We've lost out on a couple because there's, you know, such competition for places right now where we live, which is in Southwest Ontario. And just being part of her little inner circle, we can then really problem solve. I can come up with a lot more ideas for them, possibilities, help them evaluate the homes better, so that when they buy that place, there's nothing better than giving them a call and saying, you got the place. Or on the selling side saying, okay, we've got, you know, 3 or 4 offers or more on your place, and we've gotten a great fit. And I always say to my clients, if they lose out, I said, that wasn't your house. Like I'm telling you, I've seen it one too many times where people are so disappointed. Oh, I missed out. And I go, it wasn't your house. I'm telling you, when you get your house, you're going to look back and say, you know, that other house that we lost out on, I actually like this one better. Do a lot differently. I would tell myself, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are all part of the process. They're not bad. They're actually opportunities to learn. Number one, I'd say take way more risks, because the downside is not nearly as bad as you think it's going to turn out. And I think I would have been probably more fearless in terms of just trying different things, not hesitating, and not being afraid to make those mistakes. Because I grew up in an environment where it was kind of fearful of making mistakes, that you weren't going to look good, terrible things were going to happen, and really, that hasn't been my experience at all. That's what I would tell myself. Enjoy the journey too. Enjoy the journey, because there's so much to learn throughout the journey. Absolutely. I think certainly customer service, to differentiate and to really be there for your clients. And that isn't just at, let's say, the beginning of the process, maybe when they're selling or they're just buying, but also during the process and after the process. So I always tell my clients, I'm about the relationship, not the transaction. So So one of the things is being there throughout the whole process for them and being consistently there for them. I think you have to really like people, entrepreneurial spirit with being a real estate agent, because you work for yourself, right? I only get paid when I sell a house. So it's very much an entrepreneurial spirit. And, there's no one there saying, geez, you have to make those calls today, or you have to go and do those pop-bys. You have to be self-motivated. And that's part of the entrepreneurial spirit. I think marketing is a huge component of this business because there's so many choices out there. Like, everybody seems to know a real estate agent, right? Everyone has a friend, a family member, a colleague that's in the business. So how do you differentiate yourself? So I think marketing is one, making those connections with people, two, telling people about your services and about your history, and also just that you're out there, that you are a choice, because you have to find your voice and kind of rise above what other agents are doing, because there's so many people to choose from. So how are they going to choose you over somebody else? How are you different? And some of the marketing tools, so there's kind of the grassroots, and then there's the more widespread. So I'd say the grassroots for me is, as I mentioned, I'm much more about relationships and referrals. So building those relationships, continuing that relationship even after someone has bought or sold with me, following up with them. So I do pop-bys with them. I do client parties. I do special events for my clients. So those are sort of what I call grassroots. I keep in touch. I write notes to them. Then there's the more broad marketing, and that's using the internet. So social media is one that I'm working on more and more this year, and I've committed to. Also, I think marketing to other service providers. So whether that be lawyers or attorneys, maybe it's services like painters, electricians, plumbers, maybe it's mortgage brokers or insurance people, so that you make that network of people and you give them business and they in return give you business. So it's sort of the referral business, the internet, using the internet, and then I'd say sort of grassroots, that relationship building. Ideal client is someone, I've mentioned this, someone who brings me what I call into their inner circle or has trust in me. So when you bring me into my inner circle, that's when I can do my best work for you, because I know what your challenges really are. When you keep me on the outside and you don't tell me all the information, then that's all the information I'm only working with, and I don't necessarily come up with the best solutions for you. So someone who has trust in me and brings me into that inner circle, someone who is open to ideas, and keeps that communication. Those are some of the qualities that I really love in some of my clients. And those are the people that I actually they become friends actually after the transaction. I go out for coffee with past clients now. I drop by their house. They text me and say, hey, do you know, I'm looking for such and such. Can you help me out? So I'm part of sort of that resource. I become a real resource, not just during the transaction, but even after. And can I know that right away? You know what? It's funny. I do. I do get a sense of that right away, how open they are and whether this is going to be a great fit or not. I've done it enough times that I know, and I have enough clarity as to what I'm looking for, that, yeah, I have a pretty good idea if this is going to be a good fit or not. This is what I always say. If I had a superpower, you know what my superpower would be? It would be just being consistent. This is one of the greatest challenges I think I face and many others face. And that is getting up and doing what you're supposed to do, which is make your calls, get in contact with your clients, make appointments with people, and just doing that day in and day out. And if I could do that 80 to 85% of the time, you have a fabulous business, because it's so easy to get distracted by what we call the shiny objects. Oh, that's the news. Oh, I should be doing that. Oh, they did really well doing this other thing. Oh, I better check that out. And it's very easy to get distracted by different things, because what I've learned is it doesn't matter if you are someone who goes door knocking, if you're someone who cold calls, if you're someone who has a referral business. All of these systems work if you work them, and you only work them if you're consistent. And so for me, it's being consistent. If I can be consistent, man, I have a really good business. There's lots happening. There's lots of magic that happens with consistency, and it's as boring as anything, I'll tell you, but that's where the magic happens. And having virtual staging, I have to say, is just a godsend, because staging takes a lot of time. It's pretty expensive. You got to make plans, and with the market moving so quickly right now, sometimes you just don't have. I've had a couple listings where it was really tight in terms of when they bought a new place and they had to sell their place, and there wasn't a lot of time in between, and we wouldn't have had time for staging. And we then used Styldod, and we'd say, this is virtually staged, so we let people know, and I'd show them the before and after, and it works really, really well. I'm really happy with it. I used it several times last year. So one was an empty condo that I was selling, so it was completely empty. So then we put in, we did it for 3 rooms in that condo, the living room, dining room, and master bedroom. And then it had like a den or an office. So we did that. So it was actually 4 rooms. And it just helped people visualize what the space might look like for them, because people say, well, I have my couch. Will my couch fit in here? And if, in the virtual staging, there's a 3-seater couch, then they go, okay, great, a 3-seater couch will fit in there. Or what about my dining room set? Will my dining room set fit in here? And then the other one that comes to mind immediately was also, it was sort of it was a house that was, offering Styldod is amazing, because so we want really great pictures, and we want people to be able to see the potential in a room. And sometimes maybe the place is empty, maybe the place has dated furniture, or it just doesn't look great. And with techniques or apps like Styldod, that I can send you pictures, you can erase everything there and then put in furniture and remake the room at a fraction of the cost. That helps people imagine what the potential of that room looks like. And so services like that are so important. Okay, COVID has actually, it's impacted the business, because we are short of houses for sale. Houses, condos, townhouses for sale. So it has really impacted what I'd say a migration of people. So what I mean by that is people moving from one city to another city. So I live in Southwest Ontario. Toronto, Ontario is the really big city, huge city. And what we're finding is people are moving from what I call the spillover effect. If they can't, either they're downsizing from Toronto or they can't afford Toronto, so they move down the highway to a smaller community like mine, Guelph, and they buy there. So they've sold in Toronto and they're buying in Guelph. So they sold high in Toronto and Guelph is more affordable. I've had 4 clients last year who sold in Guelph and moved to even smaller communities. Again, they sold high in Guelph and then they moved to smaller communities. So what COVID has done is allowed people to migrate. When I first got in and I came from corporate life, I had the mindset of working Monday to Friday, kind of 9 to 5. And I found it really hard. But then I was working weekends for open houses, showing houses, whatnot. And I found that I wasn't taking any personal time. So then I told myself, okay, it's been a process for me, and that it switched from being this 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to, okay, I don't need 2 days in a row. I'll take 2 days somewhere else in the week. And then I learned sometimes that's not possible. So I will take maybe a half day here and a half day there and maybe one full day someplace else. It all depends. So I've become much more flexible with my idea of when work is. And here's the thing I've learned. You teach people how to treat you, meaning if you're always available 24/7, they'll expect you to be available 24/7. But if you tell them, listen, can you show me this house at 5 o'clock on Friday? No, I'm sorry, I have an appointment then. Well, the appointment might be to have dinner with your family or to just take some time off. You don't have to tell them what the appointment is. You just say, no, I'm sorry, I have an appointment that time. And also learning to take time. So when I was first in the business, I felt like I had to work all the time. And I'm learning now, working all the time doesn't make you more efficient at all. Sometimes it can make you less efficient. But taking some time helps me, one, be much more creative, much more consistent because I have the energy. I don't go through these peaks and valleys of working really hard and then I need to take time off to sort of rejuvenate myself. Okay, work really hard, take time off. The peaks and valleys are much more evened out as I've learned to really say that I'm entitled to time off. I don't have to work 7 days a week. So it's learning to switch my sort of corporate 9 to 5, Monday to Friday to, okay, when would I like some time off? And make sure that I schedule it in. Because if I don't schedule it in, then it doesn't happen. Just one path to success with real estate. There's lots of different ways to be successful in real estate. And I think when I started, if I could tell myself, I'd say, pick something. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Do what you feel comfortable with and stick with it. And results will come if you stick with it. So a number of times I started down with doing one type of, let's say, lead generation. I remember I created what's called a geographic farm. So it was a geographic area that I was door knocking. And it takes time to get to be known in that. And I didn't spend enough time. I quit before I really got the benefits. Same with cold calling. I was a really good cold caller. Same with referrals, is stick with it. So don't keep switching. Pick something that you like doing. Find what it is you're comfortable doing. Stick with it and give it at least, I'd say at least a year to 18 months, because you'll see results. There are real estate agents that are very successful at lead generation in many different ways. It's just, you got to stick with it. So I'd say don't get distracted by all the shiny objects. Just pick something and keep with it. It will pay off in the end.